Hey, I'm James, and in this video, I'm going to present 35 awesome life hacks that are almost too cool for school. From preschool to college, there's something here for everyone. So take good notes as we head into our first hack. And let me forewarn you, some of these hacks are absolutely mind-blowing, including this one, the literal highlight of the video, erasing highlighter with lemon juice. So as you can see, I've squeezed some lemon juice in a bowl, and I have me a Q-tip that I'm going to dab into the juice, and then I'm just going to go over all of the highlighter marks, and look at that, it is just lifting it up. It's almost magical, quite frankly. How's that for a life hack when life gives you lemons, right? Now this next hack is absolutely genius, multiplication cups. With just a few styrofoam cups, you can create thousands of different math problems. You just get your styrofoam cup, you write down the numbers 0 through 9 on your first cup, and then on your second one, you want to write your mathematical values on there. Then on the next cup, numbers 0 through 9. Then we'll have our cup with all the mathematical values again. And on the end, we have another cup numbered 0 through 9. And just like that, you've basically created a fun handheld math toy. Now, when you get into bigger, more complicated math problems, you can just add cups where you see fit. Now this next hack definitely took me by surprise, erasing pencil marks with bread. If you don't have an eraser and you happen to have your lunch with you, then you can actually rip off a piece of bread and start rubbing your mistakes away. When pencils were invented hundreds of years ago, the eraser was not around at the time, so the most common material that was used was breadcrumbs. So this isn't that weird of a hack. So when you have to do what you gotta do, there you go. However, before resorting to using bread, consider using a rubber band. Twist and turn that around the top of your pencil, and then you can see right here it's erasing just like any old eraser would. You can actually keep a few sheets of paper together without any staples. We want to cut a slot that will go all the way through the 7 sheets of notebook paper. Once that's done, all you have to do is fold and tuck the corner in the slot. This is perfect for study guides, keeping notes together for the day, and so much more. Pretty neat. Now many teachers don't allow you to bring food items into class, so we're going to be little rebels here and conspicuously bring in our own snacks. And what better way to do it than inside a 3-ring binder? This is very easy to do. We're just going to get a Ziploc bag, then we're going to fold up the bottom a little bit, I would say about 1/2 inch. Then holding that fold into place, we're going to turn the bag around and then fold it once more. And then we're going to create a little crease. We're just going to push all that down that we folded and tape all of that down with a strip or 2 of Scotch tape. Now we did this step to prevent food from falling through that fold. So now that we have that taped down, we're going to take this flap that we created and we're going to puncture that through our 3-ring binder. And that's all there is to it. It's really easy. And I really didn't know how I went my whole life without knowing this, but you can draw on your mirror with a dry erase marker. So these markers are not just for teachers. You can write silly quotes on there, you can write things that you have to do for the day, formulas that you have to remember. It works just like any old dry erase board would. You can actually convert index cards into little mini dry erase boards. So the only thing that you need for this is an index card and some packing tape. So I'm ripping off a couple of strips and I'm going over the index card with it, and then at this point I'm taking my dry erase marker and I'm just getting it used to it, because if you don't get the dry erase marker all over it first, then it's gonna smear off. So I'm kind of just getting some of this material on there, and then as you can see I'm able to draw anything that I want on here. So right on! You can actually revive a dry erase marker with rubbing alcohol and it will work 100%. So what we want to do is remove that stubborn cap at the bottom of the marker. It's almost like they don't want you to get in here. And then I added I attempted to add 20 to 30 drops of rubbing alcohol with a Q-tip. That didn't work, so knowing that I was going to miss some, I actually poured the solution into the marker. And at this point where the ink comes out of, we want to take this, it's called a nib, and we want to flip the nib basically. So I push that back into place, and at this point I'm going to use a roll of duct tape to kind of let this sit for a little while so that the alcohol has a chance to seep down through the marker. And check this out, an hour later I decided to go ahead and write on my dry erase board, and I could not believe it, it actually worked. Well, hot dogs in a thermos. Why didn't this idea cross my mind when I was a kid? I would have totally done this. You just boil your hot dogs on the stove or in the microwave like I did, put them in the thermos with the boiling water, and your kid will have the coolest lunch, well, the hottest lunch ever. And you're not limited to hot dogs. You can also put chicken nuggets in here and french fries and have a hot lunch instead of having these boring, cold snackables. These aren't lunchables. Now, even the most studious of students will come to school with only one pen, and then what happens? It runs out of ink. And then that student looks around and tries to find someone with an extra pen. We've all been there. You can help them out with this hack, which basically consists of cutting your own ink cartridge in half, and with one half going into your pen and one half going into the other pen. As you can see, it was easy enough cutting the pen directly in half, so this one will go back into my pen, and now working on the other pen. So on the defective pen, we'll remove the ballpoint tip out and stick that onto the ink cartridge we cut in half. As you can see, you want to do this over a sheet of paper because some ink could come out, but it wasn't that big of a mess. Now we'll just put this pen back in its barrel, and at this point it should start to write, and I'm checking both pens to make sure, and what do you know, surprise surprise, both of the pens write. If someone really needs a pencil, you can always sacrifice your pencil by breaking it in half. You can sharpen it and stick an eraser on the top, and just like that you turned one pencil into two pencils, and you became a hero. Now we all come across that pen that just stops writing. One common way to make it write again is by putting a flame up to the ballpoint. However, as kids, we can't play with fire, so what do we gotta do? What can we work with? We can use a blow dryer. In more cases than not, it will actually work. And if you're at school, you can just stick your pen under a hand dryer, and the heat alone should help your pen write again. There's a website that has all the answers to your textbooks online, slater.com. You simply type in your textbook's ISBN number, or you can just type the name of it. You will see an image of your textbook. You click on that, and then you will see all the answers. I think a lot of people know about this app called Photomath, where you can take a picture of a math problem and it will do all the work for you, which is unreal. I am so jealous I didn't have this when I was in high school. But if you don't have a smartphone, then I found this website called Cymath. It shows you all of the work, and unlike a lot of these other sites where you have to pay to see all the work, this will give you everything for free. Now this next thing, it's not a hack, it's more of something you want to get when you get your school supplies. It's earplugs. The 29 decibel foam ones in particular. I personally wear these every day and every night. It's so perfect, it drowns out all of the noise around me. With these, you get to hear the sound of silence. It's a beautiful sound. And as you can see, I roll them up in my fingers like this, and then I just pull my ear back and just insert the earplug in. I need to get it to 2 full pages, but I have a little bit here that I still need to fill up. And I don't know what else to write, so we're going to go to paragraph up here, and where it says line spacing, that's going to stay at double, because chances are your paper is double spaced anyway. And then over here, we're going to type 2.1 or 2.2. The higher the number, the more spaced out your sentences are, so definitely keep that number as low as possible. By cooking on parchment paper, you're able to eliminate any mess. You don't have to clean up the pan afterwards, there's no added grease or anything. So now I'm thinking of an after-school snack, a grilled cheese sandwich. And you especially can't go wrong cooking it on parchment paper. I have it on the lowest heat possible, and instead of butter, I have a thin layer of mayonnaise on the outside of the bread. But of course, you can use what you want. And as you can see, after only a couple of minutes, that golden brown, that looks so delicious. It was so easy with no mess to clean up. Now, I remember the days when we had presentations and we had to bring them on thumb drives. Well, with this idea, you can upload it to a website like the one you see on your screen. And upon uploading it, it will give you a small URL that you can just type in when you want to access your document. Because I know thumb drives, I would witness students take 5 to 10 minutes trying to find the file, or something was corrupt, or the thumb drive wasn't working. I like the idea of creating your own toothpaste dots instead of squeezing a tube of toothpaste. This is especially useful if you brush your teeth while you're at school. Now these are super easy to make. You simply squeeze out some dots on your plate like this. And the secret to it all is to let it dry out for at least 2 to 3 days. So one by one I put them in a Ziploc bag with a little bit of baking soda. The baking soda is important to prevent them from sticking together down the road. And you can choose to leave it in a Ziploc bag, but I had one of these Altoid style tin cans, so I went ahead and put them in here and added a little bit more baking soda just to prevent them from sticking. You just pop one in and start brushing away. Now I don't know about you, but I think it's refreshing to see a toothpaste hack that doesn't involve smearing toothpaste on paper and calling it whiteout. It seems like it's a hack that has been shared all over the internet. Well, I'm here to tell you I tested it out. It doesn't work. Well, what do we got here? You took a shower the night before, only to wake up with a bad hair day. You can't go to school like this. So instead of having to take a whole nother shower, just dampen a towel and rub that into your hair for a good few seconds. And without having to add any hair product, I was able to reverse my bad hair day, all with just a wet towel. There's a website, printwhatyoulike.com. You can remove pictures that eat up a lot of ink, you can increase the size of your font, remove advertisements, and so much more, and it doesn't cost a thing. Have your clothes all ready the night before. The morning of is not the time to find out you have no more clean clothes or that you have wrinkles that you have to iron out. If you put on your school clothes only to find out that you are shocked with static electricity, you can simply grab a dryer sheet and rub that into your clothes that you have on, or you can get some lotion and rub that into your clothes as well. This will stop all of that friction that causes that annoying static electricity in the first place. So this idea involves making a bunch of hard-boiled eggs on Sunday and leaving them submerged in water. This will keep them from expiring for 7 days. So imagine you can have a grab-and-go breakfast that will keep you full all morning, since eggs have a lot of protein in them, all without the hassle of cooking and missing the bus. So this idea involves having a frozen bottle of water next to you at night, or a cup full of ice, and then overnight all of that ice will melt and turn into water, and then when you wake up you'll have a nice big cup full of cold water to drink without having to get up to get it. Now if you have any little Picassos in the family, then you'll really like this idea, repurposing those plastic dome containers for finger paints. These are just ideal for painting because you can just scrape off the excess right along the dome. This way you can spend more time watching paint dry and less time cleaning up a mess. Now this one is more for PE class. The back of the heel is prone to blistering. It's super annoying when you have a blister and then you put your shoes on and you have to feel it every step you take. So if you're prone to blisters, what you can do is put a piece of duct tape on the back of your heel. As weird as it sounds, it will actually prevent future blistering from happening. There's nothing worse than being that student that walks in a classroom with squeaky shoes. There are many reasons for this squeakiness, but a lot of it has to do with moisture. So an easy remedy to prevent this in the future is to add cornstarch or some foot powder spray. When we use the word effect with an A, we're talking about some sort of action, a verb. And when we look at effect with an E, we're looking at a thing or a noun. So in this example, your poor grammar affects your credibility. Effect in this instance is some sort of action. So here's where the trick comes into play. I know to use effect with an A because the word action starts with an A. And as we look at this other example, I hope this post has a good effect on your grammar. Good effect in this instance is a thing. So I know not to use effect with an A because that's used for action, since action starts with an A. So hopefully that all made sense. When I'm presented with a math problem like that, I can typically spit out an answer in under 3 seconds, faster than what it would take to type it in the calculator. And I do this by breaking down this one math problem into 3 more manageable math problems. So I add the hundreds, 400 plus 300, it's 700, then I add the tens, 60 plus 30, that's 90, and then I add the ones. The 2 and the 9, that adds up to 11, so the answer is 801. Not only will this help you out tremendously in school, but it will help you in the many unexpected times in life where you need to add 2 numbers very quickly. If you have any leftover styrofoam cups from our earlier hack, you can use one of those to make an iPhone stand. You most likely know that you can find the definition of a word by typing in definition after the word. Well, next time I encourage you to type in a sentence after the word and look for the website wordsinasentence.com. Fun fact, it's actually my website. It's the site that I work on outside of this James DIY stuff. It's a website that essentially puts all of these difficult vocabulary words into context. We see a word like retroflex. Eventually, the boomerang will return to me in a retroflex manner. With that simple sentence alone, I can automatically tell that retroflex means to go backwards. It's a really cool and nifty website with over 10,000 vocabulary words defined with sentences. I'm currently making short and to the point videos for every word on the site. It's really cool because you're more likely to learn new words if you hear them rather than just reading them. Alright, you made it to the end of today's lesson, so you have a B+. But to get that A+, click like on the video and subscribe to my channel. And if you want some extra credit, head over to my other YouTube channel linked at the top of the description box, where we can learn new words almost every single day. Y'all have a good one. Until then, bye-bye.